It feels like we've been talking about it forever, but UFC 300 is finally here. Just a mere 24, 36, 48 hours away from the big action from kicking down at the T-Mobile Arena. We know what the slate brings. 12 former or current champions currently on the card. Main eventing, we got the light heavyweight title on the line between Alex Poatan Pereira going up against Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. Co-main event sees the women's strawweight division on the title on the line between Yan Xiaonan and champion Zhang Li. And then the third fight from the top, probably the one people are most excited about, the BMF title on the line between Justin Gaethje, who currently holds the title, going up against Max Blessed Holloway. That fight is sure to blow the roof off the T-Mobile Arena. I'm so excited for it. I got even more goosebumps before recording this as I watched the press conference, which I don't normally do for fights, but this was a card that I feel like I needed to tune into everything that the UFC was putting out, and the press conference. Good Lord. Two things. Dana White announcing that Mark Coleman will be stepping inside the cage to put the BMF title around the winner between Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. That should get an absolutely insane ovation once he steps foot in the cage. And then secondly, Dana White giving out $300,000 for performance of the night, 2 performance of the night bonuses normally, and a fight of the night. $1.2 million in official bonuses, and that got the crowd riled up. You guys could hear the crowd yelling, Dana, Dana, Dana. Very special moment there. Dana hasn't really been the most fan-friendly recently, but that was definitely something that a lot of people were happy to hear about, as well as the fighters, and that's sure to spark a fire under them, as I'm sure that they're ready to go out there and fight their asses off. Maybe we see more finishes than we were originally expecting to see. Should be a crazy night of fights. But this is the quick picks version of the UFC 300 breakdown. I'm going a little bit too long here on the intro, but I'm so fired up, and I'm sure if you guys are viewing this, you are just as fired up as me, so you appreciate the nice and long intro that I'm doing here. If you're looking for the full card breakdowns that I've been doing for these UFC 300 cards, I did them in 2 parts with the prelims and the main card. I'll put those in the pinned comment below for YouTube. If you go to YouTube, you'll find it there, so you guys can check out the in-depth breakdowns that I have for every single one of these matchups. This quick pick format is simply just to get right to the point of why I think every single fighter wins, or which fighter I'm picking to win. So there might be some questions that you might have in terms of me being so quick and right to the point. And if you want those answered, make sure you check out the full breakdowns that I dropped earlier this week. All right. Let's not waste any more time. Hope you're laced up and ready to go, because we're off and running with the first fight of the night between Davison Figueiredo and Cody Garbrandt. This is a fight that is sure to deliver fireworks, even though Garbrandt has been showing a very hesitant approach over his last 2 fights. I think that he's going to be forced to bite down on his mouthpiece and exchange with the bigger power puncher here in Davison Figueiredo, and I think he will pay dearly for it. I think Figueiredo knocks out Cody Garbrandt within 2 rounds. Next matchup, we got Jim Miller going up against Bobby Green. Bobby Green, probably the better technical striker here, and his defensive grappling has been good enough to keep fights upright for the most part, and I think that's where Jim Miller will have some issues. Miller might be live in terms of landing some big shots early, but I think for the most part, Green will roll with them well enough to take the brunt of it off and then really start to put it on Jim Miller through rounds 2 and 3, winning this fight on the scorecards. Next up, we got Jessica Andrade going up against Marina Rodriguez. I think if Andrade is smart enough, she should be able to drag this fight to the ground and land some big ground and pound from that top position. She also has a big enough power to really touch up Rodriguez on the feet. Although Rodriguez might have the reach and height advantage in this matchup, I think she'll struggle to keep Andrade at bay. And like I said, I really hope Andrade looks to get this fight to the ground, where she should be able to exploit the weakness of Rodriguez. And I think we see Andrade win this fight on the scorecards. Next up, a banger of a lightweight matchup between Jalen Turner and Hanato Money Moicano. Very fun fight here. Obviously, Turner has a solid striking advantage and has some big power that he could potentially take advantage of Moicano in that realm. But I think that we'll see Moicano grab that body lock and eventually drag this fight to the ground, whereas BJJ should be able to reign supreme. And I think that will open up a back take opportunity where he should be able to sink in the rear naked choke and get the submission victory, pulling off the upset as a plus 195 underdog. Next matchup, we got Sodiq Yusuff going up against Diego Lopes. Lopes has the crowd and the public in the palm of his hands, but I think Sodiq Yusuff will remind people that he has better experience and a higher level striking game, and I think his takedown defense and ability to keep this fight upright will be good enough and force Diego Lopes to make some mistakes in the striking realm, which will allow Yusuff to counter him and eventually find a big knockout victory. Give me Yusuff by knockout in round 2. Next up, we got a very highly anticipated women's bantamweight matchup between Holly Holm and Kayla Harrison. Obviously, the big talk of the week has been Harrison trying to make 135 pounds, so I'd highly recommend waiting to see the weigh-ins before making a official bet on this matchup. But I do lean Harrison, as I think that her grappling will end up being too much for Holly Holm. Look for Harrison to take this fight to the ground, smash Holm up with some elbows from that top position, and then eventually open up a submission opportunity that she should be able to stamp her rival in the UFC with a dominant finish. Next up, we got Calvin Kattar going up against Aljamain Sterling. Sterling making his featherweight debut here, but I think it's going to be tough for him to deal with a striking advantage that Calvin Kattar will hold in this matchup. I think we'll see Kattar really touch up Aljamain Sterling from distance, be able to shuck off a couple of the takedown attempts, and then really batter Sterling on the feet en route to a decision victory. Next up, we got Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic in the prelim headliner, and this should be chaos, especially considering how much Prochazka seems to be fired up about the shit talk that Rakic has been throwing at him over the last couple of months. But I think that we'll see Rakic look to drag this fight to the ground, where he should be able to have success from that top position, where Prochazka has normally struggled to deal with his opponents. I think we'll see Rakic utilize that wrestling, chain those wrestling attempts, and then eventually keep Prochazka muzzled on his back and grind this fight out over 15 minutes, winning this fight on the scorecards. Next up, we got Bo Nickal going up against Cody Brundage. We know that this is a bit of a layup matchup for Bo Nickal. Brundage will be the most experienced and toughest fighter that Bo Nickal has fought to this point, but I still don't think it's going to be enough for Brundage to pull off the upset. I think we'll see Nickal get to his takedown pretty quickly here, and then from that top position, rain down big shots and win this fight by TKO. Next up, high-stakes lightweight matchup between Charles do Bronx Oliveira going up against Arman Tsarukyan. Oliveira has been on a crazy 12-1 run, with his only loss coming at the hands of current champion Islam Makhachev. Unfortunately for him, he's fighting somebody similar to Islam, as I think that Tsarukyan should be able to nullify the grappling of Oliveira. And even if he does take this fight to the ground, I think his submission defense will be good enough to keep Oliveira in a bad position. But I ultimately think it's going to be Tsarukyan's big power on his feet that eventually finds the chin of Oliveira and he knocks him out within 2 rounds. BMF title on the line here now is we got Justin Gaethje going up against Max Holloway. Very, very fun fight here. Could go either way, but I ultimately find myself on the Max Holloway side. I feel like his ability to go into deep waters and really turn on the pressure there should be enough for him to really pull away with this matchup, and I think it could produce a possible 3rd or 4th, maybe even 5th round stoppage for him. We've seen the times that Gaethje has lost, especially in championship fights or 5-round fights. It's usually coming into the 3rd or 4th rounds when guys are able to really get up on him, put some pressure on him, put some output on him, chip away at him, and then eventually overwhelm him with a barrage of shots. And just as Dustin Poirier and Eddie Alvarez were able to do, I expect Max Holloway to do the same here and pull off the upset. Next up, we got Zhang Weili going up against Yan Xiaonan. Very intriguing matchup here. One thing is for sure, I don't think minus 500 is accurate here, as I do think that Yan Xiaonan should be providing enough resistance to cause Weili Zhang some issues. I think Yan is much liver than the big underdog price indicates here, but I think still that Weili Zhang should be able to put together a better body of work with a mixture of takedowns and damage in the striking realm for her to go out there and retain her title and win this fight on the scorecards. And the main event now, with the light heavyweight title on the line, we got Alex Poatan Pereira going up against Jamal Hill. I'm really feeling Alex Pereira here, as I think he is the technically better fighter. And I also think that Jamal Hill is coming in a little bit too early from the injury that he suffered last year. And I think he took this matchup strictly due to the fact that it was a big stage like UFC 300 and an opportunity for him to try to get his title back. I think that will cause him to make some bad decisions inside the cage and allow Alex Pereira's technically better striking style to take advantage here, eventually land that check left hook that has been such money for him in the past, and I think he puts Jamal Hill out within 2 or 3 rounds. There you guys go. Quick picks for UFC 300. Reminder, I got my PFL breakdowns as well if you guys want some action on the Friday night fights. Otherwise, make sure you guys check out all the other great content that I got dropping for you guys. Free parlay is still coming up on Friday, as well as the 3 best prop bets. If you guys want to check out all the extra content that I have as well for UFC 300, PFL, and all the other regional promotions that I cover, make sure you guys check out the Patreon page for the lock of the night. Link for that in the description below. UFC 300 is almost here, folks. Good luck on your action this week, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Peace.